Okay. Yeah, now, yes.
Yeah, it's good, good.
How are you?
I'm good, I'm good.
Nice to
Just
see you.
finished my working day. So,
Yes. Yeah, me too.
tired?
Well, it's Friday.
It's Friday after 1 week. It's not like Friday, I'm gonna rest now.
Yeah,
Now it's
they
gonna
say,
be,
they say that you only understand the word tired if you have children. So yeah, I have
yeah,
three.
yeah, weekend. I'm gonna have some rest now.
Yes. So
Yeah.
yeah, the weekend begins and you know. So how was your week? Was your week all right? Hi,
Yeah,
filters.
it was busy. It was
Busy.
busy. Yeah, like always actually. It doesn't matter if it was 17 or now, it was the same thing. It was busy.
Yeah.
Well, in some sort of way, because now we have some kids issues like everybody else does with their online training and
Yeah.
schools and everything. So that's I think that's the most challenging part, and that's what keeps me busy. That's what keeps my wife busy. And in the end of the day, when we come back home from work, you know, there's like a lot of it to talk
Yeah.
about. Why were you watching YouTube? Why were you playing games, not attending class and stuff like that? And then I'm a kid. I want to play. I don't want to stay in the
Yeah,
classroom.
it's very normal to understand. I think it more than anything is that the kids enjoy being with each other, right? The
Yeah.
social contact is important for them.
Yes.
And most of the time that's what drives some of the kids to school, right?
Yes.
Not so much the learning part, but the socializing, being with friends. And like if you don't have that, then of course the kids can want to have fun, right?
Oh yes, they do. So then we
So
have to
that's
talk about it, and then it's tough. So I think a couple of minutes went by because it's always good to wait for people to come in. And now they came in. I'm gonna wave them all because they're gonna wave me
yeah.
back, and we're gonna start the conversation. So, hey everybody! For you who don't know Vasanta, so this is Vasanta Das. He's my friend. He's my teacher. He's my mentor, coacher, and everything what comes into this one word of being together. So I'm very honored to have this conversation with you. I've been waiting for this all my life, and here it is. So, and I'm
Well,
really happy that a lot of guys that we know and friends, they're joining, and they were actually active because since Wednesday I was posting stories and videos and photos that we're going to talk, and people had possibility to give you some questions like about
yeah,
life,
all right.
about meaning, and
Yeah, yeah.
about stuff like that. So I have them here, and I'm
Okay.
gonna we're gonna have them in some time, maybe in the end. And also for those who don't know why we gathered here, because I saw people asking, what are we gonna do here? What is life about? So it's gonna be about like these inner questions when you think you're paranoid, but it's not, and you have them like, so what is my purpose in life? Why I'm not happy? I should be happy. I'm alive. I have my health, but I'm still unhappy. I have my family. I have my kids. I have everything. I have money, but I'm still miserable. I'm not happy. So why is this happening? So a lot of people have these questions. So this life is going to be about that. What to do
Yeah,
with
all
those
right.
questions which arise in me, and what I encourage people to do, please write your questions, because what's going to happen afterwards if you're not going to get an answer into your questions, maybe there's going to be another life, another life, another life, and then you're going to have all these answers, or you're going to have the possibility to one-on-one sessions with Vasanta, you can ask them directly. So this is also possible during the consultation. So
Yeah.
some introduction about Vasanta should be also here. So who is Vasanta? Vasanta is an astrologer, but mainly he's a husband, and he has a lovely wife, Lalita, and he has 3 lovely kids. And and he lives in Lithuania. Also, he's a very kind person, and from those people who were giving me those questions a few days back, they said one thing, that you have so much love for everybody, and for those who come to your consultations, that's what they receive, and mainly with this they go out like, I have never been loved in my life like this. So it comes from you. And I don't want to talk more about different stuff, because people can, in comments, talk more about you, who you are, and how are you special and helping people. But we can begin, and I will begin with maybe the first question.
Yeah, okay.
So what do you do in life? Like, how can you describe yourself? What do you do in life? Like, what is your purpose?
My purpose? Well, you know, I do find that Western culture always pushes us to find like a complex answer to like a very simple thing. You know, like if you would ask an apple tree what the purpose of the apple tree is, the apple tree would, if he could talk, he'd tell you, well, you know, it's like I live and I give apples. So this time around, you know, I'm a dad, I'm a husband. And, you know, I've come around in my life to be able to perform service to people in the way that I help them make sense of life, you know, connect the dots. And, you know, when narrative gets broken inside of themselves, or they cannot figure out how their heart connects with their mind, or their inner life connects to what's going on outside, you know, I'm able to help to reestablish a connection with oneself. So, you know, many people say that it's like a spiritual teacher. It's more like coaching, really. You know, like helping.
More like coach, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, it's like in India, they use the word spiritual teacher. But, you know, I think for the Western mind, it's better to say like a coach. Everybody needs like a guide or a life coach. It's, you know, as human beings, I think it would be very arrogant to say that we can solve it all by oneself, you know? So there's, you know, there's elements in life, there's people in life that are dedicated to precisely being support, like a support system, or, you know, as human beings, some of us figure out things that other people don't have time to do. So like, for example, if my car breaks, I can go to a mechanic, or, you know, when I travel anywhere, there's a pilot. So it's in the same way, you know, what we do is like psychological work, and perhaps a little deeper, more like spiritual. But it has to do with people being connected with their sense of self, and with learning how to be honest with oneself, and perhaps visualizing what it is that they want to experience more than achieve in one life. So we have the job of helping people do that.
So can you talk a little more about how, like, the process of astrology, or the meeting with you, or this coaching part, like you being as a coach or as a spiritual teacher, how it goes? For example, I have a question.
Yeah.
What a purpose in my life? What's the purpose of my
Yeah.
life? Or I have like a huge pain inside of my heart, and my life is like really broken. So I come to you, and what's happening then? I just shoot you a question, or how it
Yeah.
goes, the whole process?
Well, you know, there's different languages that we use. Like right now we're communicating in English, right? So we establish a language in common, and we know that certain words mean certain things. So I'm trying to piece together a message, right? But we didn't invent the English language, yet we can communicate through it. So it's a logical bridge that we can use to be with each other, to understand each other. So the language, or the bridge that I use, which I have found very accurate, is Vedic Astrology. So I have a map of the energetic, you know, blueprint of the person. So I can see tendencies, you know, I can see desires. With Vedic Astrology, we can see how, you know, in what moment, in what chapter of the book the person is in, you know, in what chapter of the movie they're in. And we can also see what they have not solved. But mainly what I do, you know, when people come to me, is I just sit and listen, which is, okay, where are you at? Why are you here? What would you like to know? And usually people, by speaking, you know, I already have enough experience in my life that I can, you know, I sit down and listen. I try to understand where it is that people get trapped, right? What's important in life is that as human beings, we understand that life is a process. And as human beings, we're always in motion. So when we get stuck, it's very hard for us to determine, right? If we're having all that life is meant to be, or if there's meant to be something more, or sometimes we fall into patterns that are not producing the results that in the end of the day, by intuition, we know that are possible. So it's all about listening in the beginning. So I try to sit and listen. And then I do have an indication, which is a map. And, you know, I've studied a lot about, my passion is people. So it's my passion is not astrology. My passion is people and the spirit in people. So astrology is just a language, but I could as well be doing like, you know, any other means. But what I really want to do is I want to help people understand that there's a pathway for every human being, depending on what chakras are activated, you know, what energetic systems are activated in the present time in their consciousness. Well, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be tests, there's going to be experiences, I would say. In the Western world, we always used to see life as a challenge, right? But it's more, you know, if you go to the Eastern world, they speak to you about experiences. So, you know, every level of consciousness in this life and the next, we're going to have experiences. And the quality of those experiences can be, you know, positive, negative. It could be very delightful, or it could be very sorrowful. You know, we can create a pattern of pain, or we can create a pattern of joy and enjoyment. So we try to put spiritual knowledge into the hands of people and empower them to take better choices. So listening, I would say listening is how we start. So I listen, and then, you know, I see where you're at, and then how we move forward. But I would guess that you do the same, right? When somebody comes to you, they say, yeah, I want to have more energy and be stronger. It's like, why would you like to do that? You know, it's like you sit down and you listen to them.
Yeah, I asked several questions about how they feel, what pains do they have in their body, and then they say, and then I can see a little bit more and clear situation. Then I send them to do some test of the muscles. Then I send them to Olga. Then they have like a test of their body, and then I know what I can do and what I cannot do with their body, and then the journey starts. Okay, so about astrology, I know that there's a course going on that you teach people how to learn, become an astrologer, or how to read more better, like yourself or your family, or for those who want to be astrologers. So where they can find this?
Well, I have a website. It is vasantadas.com. And in the website, you'll find access to the courses. They are there. Now, this course is not designed for people that necessarily want to be astrologers. The way that I think about it is, you know, I'm a dad, and how I have seen is it is very helpful for parents and for teachers, even for managers, because as human beings, we're all very, very different. So I find that astrology can be a language which can put in symbols, right? The understanding of how we have differences and how we operate in a different way. So I've done it in a very simple way so that anybody can, you know, if you want to know who your children are and how to develop them and how to treat them, or, you know, get along better with your couple. It's more like that I've done it. Because again, you know, after going through a journey in astrology for 20 years, it's not really about astrology. It's about people. And it's about the relationship. Yeah, it's about the relationship between people, and about people being able to do something beautiful with their life with better understanding. With better understanding of ourselves and others come better choices. So, you know, the course will teach you how to use the language of astrology, but the goal of the course is not to become an astrologer. It's for you to have better relationships and more fulfillment.
Okay, so two patterns. Either they come to you and ask for an advice, or the second
Yeah.
one they can like in a consultation one-on-one online or live whenever there's going to be a possibility. But and the other one
Yes.
is they join the course and they learn by themselves. And also they
Yeah, they
have
can
you
join.
as a mentor, as a teacher who can guide them through the process. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people have the passion, right? Like some people like to know people, to know human beings. You know, like if you're a life coach, that's going to be your passion. It's not about winning, right? Like if you're a sports coach, it's not about winning. It's about getting the best out of your players.
Yes.
You know, if you're a life coach, it's not about your clients reaching any type of monetary success or status in society. No, it's about the person really learning to be happy. So some people, you know, they really like to know people and understand people, their own family. So for those people, they can come and take the course. And if you don't have the time to do that because your activity is different, then you know you can just book a reading, and I'll walk you through the steps. Right? It's not like if my car breaks, I'm going to become a mechanic. You know, it's like some people do that, and that's fine. Or you know,
Yeah,
like if my
like this
tooth
part when
breaks,
you have
I
three
go to the
kids.
dentist.
Yeah, yeah. This part when you have three kids and you want to become an astrologer, it's like really tough, you know. But
Yeah, you don't need to. You know, and like when you come to astrology, what I have learned over the years is that if I say Jupiter this and Venus that, it makes no sense for people. So I try to bring it down to a level where, you know, it can make sense to your life. So there's a lot of storytelling, there's a lot of spiritual introspection. I help you understand what are your needs, what are your desires, what are your values, and you know how to design a life based on those things, right? What are your negative patterns as well? So in that way, we can
okay,
help.
because I have several people who wrote me back that they came to a consultation with you, and they had like questions about their health, and they were, you know, they were getting some information, some feedback, some questions, and they had like a list that
Yes.
they pointed out. And after some time that it already passed, they
Hmm.
said that after it, they were like really, really calm and like, okay, now I'm laser focused. I know what to do. But after some time passed, like half a year,
Yes.
the guy, he looked what he wrote down and everything like really manifested the way you told, the way you've seen. And then he goes like, oh my, the right direction. And it was not one or two. There's many people who wrote like
Yes.
that. So people only come with
Yes, it's based on the action, right? On the positive action.
okay. So do people come for you, like to meet with you only when they want to know when they're going to earn money or what job should they change, or they come when they're heartbroken? Like who mainly comes to
Oh
you, or
well,
is like a huge scope? Can you simply tell like what kind of a
there is a
pattern do you
scope.
see?
Well, what kind of patterns do I see? I've had everything, you know. The most regular people are people that are already in the spiritual path, right? They're already introspecting. So, you know, there's two types of people basically. Those who are believing that happiness is possible through what you do outside of yourself, which is the interaction with the world. So all of those people are trying to transform the world into more money or more success, or, you know, carve a place on the world. So that's an extra, you know, outside of yourself. You're looking outside of yourself for happiness. And then there's the people that are already realized that happiness, peace, love, that is something you do inside of yourself. So, you know, basically those are the two people that come. The people that come outside of themselves, very normal. There's people that come in the level of fear, which is I'm so afraid of life. What can I do? You know, I don't know if I'm going to get it right. Can you give me some guidance? I'm very confused. So those people come. Then there's the people that are very hurt. And, you know, it's like I'm pain in life. You know, I don't know how to get over this situation. I'm not able to get good relationships. I don't know why. Can you help? So those people come. Then you get the people that want more success, right? Those people have the other two set up. You know, they're already earning enough money and they already have a relationship that's working for them. But now they're working on becoming more powerful, and perhaps they come like in managerial level. And here, you know, I've had people that, you know, many clients that are millionaires and that they want more. And, you know, the complications of that, right? The complications of being successful, being a manager. And, you know, what is it that's on the other side of that? Then the people that have completed that process that are already like a senior manager or a director or a very famous athlete or artist, and you know the stress, right? So there's a lot of stressed people that you know, it's like when I started, I thought it was all about success, and then as I go forward, I realized that it's actually about health and balance and not about doing a lot but doing enough. So those people come. And then, you know, of course, there's the people that do a lot of yoga. So I serve a lot of yoga communities. You know, I serve the people that are following Sadhguru a lot. I serve people that are following Dalai Lama a lot, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar a lot, Srila Prabhupada a lot, Narayan Goswami a lot. So those people come over, and I'm eventually what happens is some of those turn into friends, right? And there's a continuation in the narrative. So yeah, in all levels, they come in all levels. Parents come a lot. And I find that, you know, people, when they're going through like a divorce, come a lot, or like a very big crisis, or when they don't know how to do with their children. Also, it's like, oh, you know, he was really nice when he was a baby, but then he turned into an adolescent, and we're not understanding each other. What should I do? When people, they want to find their career, they also come. It's like, I don't know what to study, or I have 2 or 3 options. Which one's the best? So, you know, we meet people like that. And of course, like, since I'm friends with you, you know, like people from your community come, and like people from your community, they want more, right? They're already successful. They want to be more successful. So it's a bit of encouraging to go from I am great to I can be better than great, which is difficult to understand, because I can be better will include being mindful of other people, right? So becoming a good manager, becoming a good leader, you know, becoming a responsible person in society, going beyond yourself, right? The power is not for me, the power is for others. So it's like those people come a lot from your community, for example, already in success, but going into the next level. So we meet everybody where they are, you know, some need healing, some need self-esteem, some just need, you know, affirmations so that they can understand. Some need focus, some need discipline. So depending on what they need, we can meet them in the way.
So, like, really, for me, is kind of also interesting. Like, what kind of solutions do you offer for people when they come hurt, or when they come depressed, or when they come stressed out? Like, can you? Because can you share? Because what I know from my experience while talking in social media, people just love when they hear someone like or a success story, or for some like oh, you know, this person came, he did this and this, and then, you know, now he's great, but you know, he was stuck here. So some success stories. So can you share some of that?
Well, yeah, you know, depending on how people come, you know, if somebody comes very broken in their emotions, it's going to be a different type of medicine than a person that comes already in a success story, or somebody that is very hyper stressed, right? What I do is I have maps that I have crafted over the years, and they're maps of, you know, the spiritual evolution of people. All the way from, so we go in this level, right? We go fear, then we go, you know, the need for relationship and connection, then we go power, you know, then we go transformation, and so forward. So, you know, we really need to find where the person is, and for every chakra, there's some medicine, or there is something that you can help with. What I find is, for example, when people come into the consultation, they're very heartbroken. What you have to be is like very motherly, right? So in this case, it requires a little bit of time, and it requires a lot of listening, because people don't have the strength to get up on their feet and go forward, right? So you got to provide them with that strength. And what I find is that, you know, why we love stories, right? Right now you mentioned it. Everybody likes a good success story. So, you know, if you read the book, you know, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, which is, you know, a very big part of the work I do, is the way that the ancient people in every civilization figured out that, you know, you can pass on wisdom to other people is in the form of the story. So I do a lot of storytelling, which is in the astrology. I see the pattern that is, you know, there's always like an evil pattern, right? Like in Harry Potter, there's the evil guy, right? Or in Beauty and the Beast, there's a pattern that is causing pain. You know, the beast is turned into a beast because he was very selfish and because he was not mindful of others. So all of those stories and fairy tales, all of that stuff, it survives the ages. And like, for example, we like Marvel Studios because it actually is a mirror, right, of what's going inside of us. And like, you know, the Hulk will play an aspect of our psychology, or Beauty and the Beast will play it. Gandalf will play an aspect, Master Yoda. So basically my job is in the first 15 minutes of the consultation, right? While I'm listening to you, I'm trying to figure out what story is that I need to tell you so that you can put the dots together, right?
Okay.
So I have found that storytelling is the simplest way to get out, to help somebody see what they're not seeing. And then I use a lot of archetypes, which is, you know, like successful patterns that people can follow. So it's like, if you ever wonder why you love the movie so much and why you love a character so much, is because that character speaks to you. And for example, power animals also help. You know, it's like some people find that they are very keen to the qualities of a certain animal. It gives them strength, or like people like owls or cats or lions, like that. So that's the medicine that, you know, that ancient people found, that through storytelling you can feed them to the mind of the young. So what I try to do is I try to tell people a story that they can connect with. When we connect with a story, then we begin to have a narrative that can be positive instead of a narrative that is very negative, right? So what I find, for example, with people that are traumatized or very deeply hurt because things didn't go their way, you know, what heals them is to understand that the story is not over, that it has a continuation. And, you know, a lot of the work is done on faith, right? The first time people come to a consultation, you know, I'll clear it out for them that, look, this is the way you're going, and this is how you get over this, you know, forest that is dark, right? Some people go through a dark night, and then, you know, sure enough, the prediction comes true. And then they come back for a second time. And by that time, you know, they have a little bit more trust and a little bit more faith. So you can empower them to take their own choices, right? People start trusting themselves. So, you know, it's like little things. You don't start by winning the NBA tournament, right? You start by putting the ball once through the hoop. That's like a little success. And then if you do that repeatedly, you'll find that, you know, 7 out of 10, you put it in. And then if you practice a little more, 10 out of 10, and then a championship, right? Which is what everybody thinks they want. So, you know, it's like incremental steps, which I see the Western world today in our culture doesn't have. And a lot of the pain and the frustration that as human beings we suffer in our Western culture is because we all believe we need to be like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or somebody in that level, right? Where I find that it's perfectly possible to live a happy life, not being a super, you know, like a super alpha person,
Yeah,
right?
just as you are.
And just as you are, you know, everybody can find happiness. But the thing is, we don't really know, in the Western world these days, right, capitalist world, we don't know happiness beyond success. And there is so much more beyond success. So, you know, the narrative has to change. And that's where the Eastern world comes in. And, you know, I found, actually, I found a home in Lithuania because I find that Lithuanians are, you know, it's a very beautiful culture because you guys are still connected with the spirit of your land and with simplicity and appreciation. Like I often tell my wife, you know, for me, it blows my mind that, you know, in Lithuania, which is the most ancient language that is still spoken in the world. You know that Lithuania is the only ancient language that is still spoken?
I've heard, and it blows my
I find
mind
that to be
also.
fantastic. Yeah. And like, for example, you name your children Agne, which means fire, or you name your children Upe, which means river, or Veyus, which means wind, or Aguilas,
Rasa,
which means
rasa,
oak
which
tree,
means like
Rasa,
these
yes.
small drifts on the grass.
So if you see, your culture is still very connected with that which seems to be very basic in life, but it's also very essential. Connected with nature, connected with cycles, connected with appreciation and simplicity, and with beauty, right? The beauty of simplicity. So, I find it, I find myself very lucky to be here because of that. And I do see that many Lithuanians, they are seeing, beyond doing your job right. Yes, that it's not about having a lot, but it's about learning to appreciate what you do have and adding value to the lives of other people, right? So in that sense, I think that's where you get to the sweet spot, where you understand everybody can add value, everybody's able to be very happy in their own life, um, but by playing the role that they're meant to play, right? And understanding that in every movie, there's happy chapters and then there's tough chapters. In every year, there's going to be spring and there's going to be winter as well. So, but by being in the winter, you learn to appreciate the summer, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bit like that, right? I do find Western culture to be very vertical, whereas, Eastern culture is all inclusive. It's very circular. It's like a mandala. Everything is there, right? I like to give the example of the Indian thali. When you go to India, right? This is it's just in their culture that here in the West, you'll have like an entry, maybe a soup, and then after that, maybe a little bit of salad and like the main dish, right? And if you're lucky, then maybe some sweet at the end. But in India, it's not like that. In India, you'll sit down and it's a thali. So a thali is you have something sweet, something sour, something crunchy, something fried, something wet, something creamy, something salty, and that's a meal. And if you don't have a complete meal, whoever is hosting you doesn't feel good. So I find that as a very good metaphor for life. That life is like an Indian thali. Like you get a little bit of everything, and it is only when you taste the sour that it's like, nah, maybe I should try a little bit of sweet now, or you can have a little bit of spicy, but then relieve yourself in a little bit of cooling food. So life is like that. It's about
Yeah,
finding
life
the
is like
balance.
that. Yeah, life is like that in the
Yes, it
balance,
is.
and people get it. Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
like a little bit of clarification. So people come in the first consultation. They don't know. Maybe they were
Yes.
given like a good word. They come. They have some questions. You get them answers, or they have their path, or they find their role, and then they come second time. Why people come second time? Third time, fourth time. What is?
Oh well,
Maybe
because
maybe people don't know. Maybe it's like
they
one
see
time
that it
coming.
works, right?
Hmm.
Some people come once and then they don't come back, but I usually have people coming back 3, 4, 5 times, and they bring their children, their husband, their wife, and then I get to know all the family. It's just like a very regular thing. In the beginning, they take like a year to come back, but I find that people come back because they feel understood and because the advice I give them works, right? Because if it doesn't work, why would you come back? So, I think it's a combination of those two things. It's like, yeah, what you told me, I applied it. You made it simple for me, and I did what you told, and it worked, and it's got me in a better experience, I would say. People have a better experience after, cleaning up the guilt and understanding that there's a negative pattern, but they can choose not to follow it, and that they can create a positive pattern if they choose to. And that if they focus, right? I'll give you an example. Like say, for example, you grow up in a house where your father or your mother, right, expected you to be a mango tree, and then you turn out to be an apple tree. And then all your life, you're trying to be a good mango tree, right? And you try very hard, and it's very frustrating. And then at some point, you need to accept that you are an apple tree and that your purpose in life is to give apples. And then you focus on giving apples, and then you're done. You'll feel good, right? But there's a lot of guilt trip, right? That I should be what somebody else told me to be, or I should, conform to what anybody else is expecting from me. So I find that when people feel understood, right? And understand that apples, there's nothing wrong with apples, as there's nothing wrong with mangoes, and that you're the tree that you're meant to play in this life, and that's it. For one life you're going to be an apple tree or a mango tree, but it has a value. And then by people accepting that it has a value and focusing their energy on producing a good fruit, not every fruit, just a good fruit, people feel a sense of calm and peace and accomplishment and purpose, right? Now, how important are apples in the world? Well, the world would not be the same without apples. So it's the same, if you're a teacher, be a good teacher, if you're a mechanic, be a good mechanic. In this way, everybody has a role to fulfill.
But even
with human beings, yeah.
But even though people, maybe they're mechanics or teachers, but they're still trying to. That people are not.
Yes. 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 Well, by association, I would say that the main key, right, when you go into a process of growth, which is, for some time you enjoy yourself, right? Like when you're a kid, you just play with your friends and you're perfectly happy. But at some point you're playing with toys, and instead of a toy, you want a video game. And then you're playing a simple video game, and now you want a PlayStation 4, and you want a world in 3D. So it's like a very natural progression. As human beings, we're like that. So, again, if we go back into storytelling, right, we're always hungry to taste something new or to display our potential, right? It's like we're always hungry for a new test, or, for some time we may enjoy what we were doing before. And, I call those plateaus. At some time you come into a plateau in life where it's like, yeah, it's like right now I have a job I like, my kids are growing, and, life is smooth and beautiful. It's like listening to that CD that you always listen to. But, sometimes you want to go and look for new music, or, you want some variety, right? So those are processes of growth. So it's like an up and down thing. And sometimes you have, places where you grow up over a long term, right? When you like your life, you'll grow up in one line or in one career. So again, back to storytelling about purpose, right? How do you find that, and how do you learn to do that? You look at any story from any culture. The hero always has a mentor, right? Like Bilbo in the Lord of the Rings, he has Gandalf. Neo in the Matrix has Morpheus, right? Spider-Man has Iron Man in the new movies. So Harry Potter has Dumbledore. So, the young apprentice, and this is with Jedis also, like the Jedis always have a Jedi master. The Padawans, they have a Jedi master. So it's like, and you can go all the way to Yoda, eh? So even the Jedi masters, they respond to a higher authority, because the person with more experience knows more. The person that has practiced more knows more. So there's nothing in the universe that is not known, right? Somebody knows. Somebody's already figured it out. So the quickest way to advance is by association. So what I would say is, whatever it is that you want to have that you're not figuring out, try to find somebody that has what you have. And you'll always see that, it's like there's successful men in the world. There's people that have successful marriages. There's people that are successful parents. There's people that are very rich. There's people that are very healthy. There's people that are very peaceful, that are very wise. And you can connect with them. That's the wonder of the internet. So by association, I would say the quickest way to solve a problem is to ask somebody that knows how to solve it. Otherwise, you lose so much time in trying to figure it out. So by finding somebody that's already figured it out. And then, if you approach that person with two qualities, with humility and with willingness to serve them, they will teach you everything they know. So it's like, that's the secret ingredient. when you admire somebody that is much better than you at what you want, right? Consider yourself a student and approach them with humility, which is, I haven't figured out this. I don't know how to do what you do, but I would like to learn from you, right? Imagine that, you love basketball and you're going to go see LeBron James or Michael Jordan. Your attitude has to be right. It's like, hey, LeBron, can you teach me how to play basketball? Well, if you're nice, maybe they'll teach you, right? Or if they see that you're committed, they'll teach you. And then definitely you can learn. If you're committed, if you have discipline, if you invest your time, definitely you will learn. So by association, look for somebody that has what you want and ask them how they do it. And ask them to teach you. Try to follow them. So basically, this is what people are doing with you right now, right? They want who you are because they like you as a person and they see, the way you treat your family, your success, the way that you conduct yourself, how you're healthy, how you're kind to people. And they're like, yeah, I want a little more of that in my life. Can you help me? So they want to connect with you.
Yeah, I'm still learning. It's the path. I'm still learning.
We all are.
Yeah. I remember the first meeting.
Life, you never stop learning.
Yeah. And I remember the first time meeting you. I was brought to you, my wife. We had a question, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen. And I've heard so much things that I'm gonna be doing that I didn't know. And now there was one question from a girl, and she was asking about purpose of life. So what is the purpose of life? Because there was now we were speaking about this astrology questions, that people can come and ask you these questions, and they can meet with you, that they can have the better understanding what's going on when they meet you for the consultation. But also there was this thing that I said that, just give me your questions and we'll try to answer them. So first question was about the purpose of life. So what it is?
Yeah. It's a very simple question to answer. However, if you have a Western mind, we try to put everything in one life, right? But from the Eastern point of view, a life is just a chapter. So it's depending on what you came to learn in this chapter that the purpose of life is given. In the ultimate scope of things is self-realization. And what is the meaning of self-realization? To connect with yourself and set to your essence, right? To connect with your spiritual essence in a way that you can figure out and actually develop the qualities to relate with the absolute, in a beautiful way. So to relate to the absolute, to have a yoga or a relationship with the absolute in a beautiful state, in harmony, in love, in peace. And everybody relates to the absolute in a very personal way. So, for some people, it may be healing. For some people, it may be developing self-esteem. For some people, it may be to be a parent. But what you take in the end of the day is you get a little bit more nearby to who you really are. What is it that is unchangeable inside of you, inside of your spirit? What remains even if everything changes? And what remains is that at some point we realize we're always connected to the absolute, and that the absolute is conscious. The universe is consciousness. You are consciousness, and there's a connection between the infinitesimal, which is you, and the infinite, which is, the absolute consciousness, right? The Brahman. So to figure out in what way we want to have a relationship in eternity with that absolute, well, we're trying to figure that out lifetime after lifetime. However, since, we cannot swallow the whole ocean in one bite, right? In one life, we must attend what the ancient called the Dharma, which is everybody's got a job to do. So like I've said many times, if you're an apple tree, you focus on the apples. That'll take you to the next level. So it's like little by little understanding. But the purpose definitely self-realization, right? To find out in what way you can do a loving service how you can connect with the best of you, with the universe. That'll be satisfying. Otherwise, you know, if it's just self-based, if you do everything you do for yourself, there's no satisfaction. Once you understand you can go beyond yourself and add value, you understand the power that you have to choose to give happiness to another, you know, life takes on a very beautiful dimension, right? You become multidimensional once you figure out that you are for others. So in other words, the apple is not for you. You realize the apple was never for you, and the apple is meant for someone else, and that makes you happy. You understand? It's like, okay, I could do a little more of that. But it really doesn't matter if it's apples, bananas, mangoes. It just matters that you do that with love, right? That whatever it is you're producing, you find a way to do it with love and without attachment for the result of the actions. And so that's peace. So we need to practice. So there's practices that lead into that. So, you know, as far as purpose, that's it. To have a positive connection. The ancients call it yoga. To establish a yoga in a beautiful state with the absolute. What people call God. So to connect with God in a beautiful way.
Okay. Last question. There was from a woman. She said that she is pretty successful in her life and she loves her job. But recently, she started to feel very down, like really down. She has no mood. She doesn't love her job anymore. So, and she's asking, like, what is it? Am I tired? Am I overstressed? Should I change something in life?
Yes. Yeah, sure. It's quite often, you know, especially with senior managers, I find it a lot. Or like, for example, with people that are in, you know, in a great stage of their life, people that have had it all, they eventually come around to this stage where, you know, they start understanding that what they believed the limit was going to be is not the limit. It's just a place where you play for some time. And then, you know, they cannot see beyond because you see in our Western culture, monetary remuneration, right? To have financial freedom seems to be what everybody likes. And we believe that's freedom and we believe that's happiness. And also power, you know, to have power over others. It seems to be like the mark. But then the other two sides of human life are always there, which are self-actualization, right? To learn a little more about yourself. So to become a student always, be open to the universe, which is vast and unlimited, right? And then to invest in having good relationships with the people around you, right? To understand, you know, in what way you want to add value. So what happens is sometimes our values get disconnected with our desires. What I find with successful people is their drive is desire. But at some point, you know, for people like her, she may be tired, so she needs, you know, what I tell them is like, take a vacation, take a long walk nearby the ocean and be with yourself and think of the three things that you figured out matter in life. It's like, so maybe family is important, friends are important, maybe health is important, maybe peace is important. What have you figured out that is important in life? So on the basis of what's important, try to build your life around that. Try to take choices that will enable you to foster or to kindle, you know, what is important for you in life. So that's a process of transformation. It's a stage in human development. After success comes transformation, which is like, yeah, you know, I'm a very successful CEO, but I could be doing better than that as a human being. And then instead of focusing on your own success, you start realizing, well, I have a certain power. I have learned certain things in life. It's like, what can I do for humanity? What can I do for my family? What can I do for the planet? How can I be a more peaceful human being, a more gentle human being, a more nonviolent human being? How can I practice more equality, you know? How can I be, you know, a source of light and love for the world? So that's a process of transformation. Basically, the mantra that comes is, I could be better.
Okay.
Not I am great, but I could be better than great.
Okay. So
that happens to people that are very successful. It's natural. Okay. Love your children. Love your children. Believe in them. Tell them that there is both good and evil in the world, but empower them to choose what is beautiful and what is good and to believe in it. Empower them to look for people of wisdom. That is the future. Invest in their education, but not just the education in school. Education means that children learn to respect another. People learn to be warm-hearted towards another. People learn to respect nature. People learn to feel the presence of the absolute in every step of their life. Don't be shy about empowering love in the hearts of children. I have found that that's important. So pay attention to them, love them, believe in them. And to the human beings around you, try to be excellent to them. Love them. Don't stop with fear, People do what they do, but you have the right to be excellent to everybody around you. It's like, why not be excellent to people around you? And always have respect for the opportunity of being alive, and try to realize life is a beautiful gift. It's a beautiful gift. Being in a human body is a beautiful gift. So you're all lucky. You're all lucky. We all are. We all are.
So Vasantha, once again,
Don't be shy about love. That's what I would say.